I met Sandy Reece this past July. She sent me an invitation via my website to do a book signing or participate in a ladies' garage night when I was in the area of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Sandy is the H.O.G chapter director for Smokin Harley-Davidson there in Winston-Salem. Gorgeous dealership. When I saw her invitation, I immediately started communicating with her via email. And as luck would have it, I was traveling with my partner Paul in July, and I would be right in the area of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So we made arrangements to do a book signing. Unfortunately, I wasn't going to be there through the week to do a ladies' garage night. Sandy is just one of those women that as soon as you meet her, it's like your best girlfriends. Like I'd known her all my life. That doesn't happen very often with me and other women. Sandy sat with me the entire afternoon. And yes, I signed several books. She did an excellent job of promoting my appearance there. And I met so many wonderful people that were part of the local writing community and the H.O.G chapter. I think what fascinated me about Sandy, though, was first of all, we had just a dozen different things in common right off the bat. We couldn't stop talking about those things. But Sandy's experience with motorcycles runs very deep, and she, which talking about motorcycles as if it were a second language for her. And I'm always impressed when women can do that. And what really resonated with me was her brand choice. I think this comes up a lot in conversation and certainly on social media pages. So I wanted to continue the conversation with Sandy and talk about some of the struggles in women buying motorcycles and what to look for in a brand of motorcycle. If you're watching this solo chat, I hope it helps you make a decision on a brand to buy and decide why it is you're buying a motorcycle in the first place. What are you going to do with it? Sandy has a lot to offer, and this won't be the last solo chat I have with her. So I want you to lean in and listen to my chat with Sandy. So when we were sitting at Smokin Harley-Davidson when I visited there, and in the background you're going to see cats. If you just saw my cat wander through, I've got both of them wandering around here. But we talked about everything, and some of it pertained to motorcycles even, and that we had so much in common. But I think one thing that resonated with me was, first of all, you've been writing a lot longer than I have. When did you start writing?
Well, basically, I've been riding all my life. My dad kept my brother and I on dirt bikes when we were younger. Left the motorcycle world to get married, have children, do that responsible stuff. And then then my husband brought it up one day and said, I'm going to take the class to ride a motorcycle. And I said, well, that's awesome, but I'm not going to ride behind you. I said, my dad always said I was the worst passenger. So I'm going to ride my own. And he said, well, you'll take the class too. And I said, that's fine. So that's how it got started again. So
I'm a bad passenger too. The times I've had to get on the back of Paul, my wingman's bike, I'm always tapping him on the shoulder and talking in his ear. And, I'm a bad passenger too.
I haven't been on the back seat, in a very, probably never. So I started back on street bikes, cruisers, 2004.
Okay, good. And right now you're riding a
Harley-Davidson Road Glide.
Yeah.
And I bought a second bike just for around town.
That's I know you did. You bought that little military little gunner bike, I call it.
Yeah, the little Harley-Davidson Slim S, and I ride it local. So I've got two in the garage now.
So what I found interesting was that you have ridden several different brands of motorcycles. And I guess I have to admit, I'm a Harley-Davidson devotee, but I'm not sure why. Okay, and I will admit that. 15 years ago when I bought my bike, my ex-husband rode the Harley-Davidson. Everybody around me rode Harley-Davidson. I really didn't question it I want a Harley-Davidson. I did think it through in terms of what I wanted to do on a motorcycle. I knew I wanted to travel, and you had some good points about that. So why don't you continue those thoughts about that?
Well, I started out on a street bike, a little Kawasaki 500. It wasn't comfortable. My husband had bought a Honda 750 Cruiser, and I liked the way it sat better. But my mentor was my dad. So my husband didn't really take off riding. So I rode with my dad a lot, and it was him and his buddies that were all on Gold Wings. So here I am on a little Honda Shadow 750 trying to keep up with Gold Wings. They put cruise on and I'm struggling, with the throttle. And I'm like, where's the fire? Why are we going so fast? And then my dad eventually said, you're going to have to get a bigger bike. And so my next step was the Honda VTX 1300, and it had cruise control and had bags and things. And it actually took me to Canada. I did travel on it, and I actually pulled a trailer with it.
Wow.
Had a trailer hitch put on it, and pulled a trailer to Canada. So let's go back to what I wanted out of a motorcycle. With my dad, it was about traveling long distance. So the comfort of traveling was a big thing for me. So what kind of bike was I going to need or want, or to have all the bells and whistles to have the fit, the comfort for traveling? Yes, I ride local. Yes, I go to the grocery store, and I'll pick up a gallon of milk, stick it in the side bag. But my ultimate goal was to ride long distance. Mm-hmm. So eventually I ended up on a Honda Gold Wing. I bought the 1500 first, and then I went to the 1800 and did a lot of traveling on those. I did a trip all the way out to Cody, Wyoming. I came home after 3 weeks, and I told my husband, I said, this bike got bigger and bigger by the minute. I said, I think I want to go back to a cruiser, just to, something a little smaller. And Victory came out with the hardball, which was comparable to their cross country. And I liked it. So I traded it. I traded in my Gold Wing and got this Victory hardball. So fast forward a few years, Polaris makes their announcement that they're not going to make the Victory any longer. And immediately after they make that announcement, my check engine light comes on 5 times in one day.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, as much as I want to travel, I have got to have a motorcycle that I can rely on and rely on service to be available all over the US.
That's a good point. Because if you are traveling long distance, Murphy's Law says something's going to happen to that bike. And I know with my Harley-Davidson, I have rarely been less than 70 miles, 80 miles from a Harley dealership.
Mm-hmm. So social media is a wonderful tool for across the United States, because I was a member of several different Victory or Indian type of social media posts. And I was seeing in the states out west that the dealerships were stopping service on the Victories. Wow. Because they knew they were going away.
Wow.
And the red flag went off. And my husband, when I got home from my trip, after the multiple service lights, he said, I could see your wheels turning, no pun intended. He said, we're going motorcycle shopping, right? And I said, yes, we are. I said, it's going to have to be either the Honda or the Harley. I said, I've owned Hondas. I've demoed Harleys. I know which Harley I would want. I said, but I've got to find the bike that fits me and fits my lifestyle for what I want out of it. So Honda at the time didn't have anything that, just made me drool. Went to Smokin Harley-Davidson in Winston-Salem and they had 5 road glides on the floor, and I sat on one, and the salesman was actually a Jim. He talked to me. He didn't talk to my husband, which was a plus in his pocket.
Yes.
Because each
Yes.
time I went to a dealership, they would always go to my husband.
Amen.
And he would say, I'm not the one here to buy a bike. You need to talk to her. So we made it out. I told him, let me think about it. And we made it to the parking lot. My husband said, you better go back in because it ain't going to be here tomorrow. And sure enough, 5 bikes dwindled down to 2 in a matter of a day. And I would not have had an opportunity to buy the bike I liked had I walked away and not went back in. So,
Right.
And fast forward, I've got, it's a 2017 model, and I've got 43,000 miles on it. And still going, and I love it.
Me too. We ride the same bike. I've got the 2020 Road Glide Special, and I'm glad you said that the last sale, the sales guy who sold you this one talked to you, because I've had that experience too. I don't know what it is. I don't know when the dealerships are going to realize that there are so many women out there. Now, granted, you knew exactly what you wanted this time around, okay? And I knew exactly what I wanted this time around. The first time I went to buy a bike, I wasn't sure what I wanted, but I kept saying, I want to travel. I want to travel. I want to travel. That should have been a red flag selling point right there. Don't sell me the Sportster. I mean, how many women get sold the Sportster? Why? I don't know. I really don't know. And then the second time I went to buy my bike in 2013, I knew exactly what I wanted. I had already clicked off almost 48 states and 7 Canadian provinces. Please don't tell me what I want. Here's what I'm telling you I want. I had a hard time. I had to go to 6 different dealerships before someone could sell me one. And I will put a plug in for Crystal Harley-Davidson here in Florida, because Mike Madero, who sold me my 2020 Road Glide Special, never wavered. I told him exactly what I wanted. He made it happen. And, but I think too many women are out there just knowing they want to ride, but perhaps not taking the time to say, okay, I know I want to ride, but am I going to be the ride down Main Street during bike week kind of rider, or am I going to get on this bike and do some traveling?
What kind of riding are you going to do?
Yeah.
Are you just going to ride with your husband on a Saturday afternoon or a Sunday afternoon and down a few country roads, or do you want to go across the United States? I mean, what kind of riding do you want to do? And then you need to figure out what style bike will fit that riding style. And it's funny because I don't think a lot of women speak up for themselves. There's 3 different kinds of buyers. There's the guy, and then there's the guy with the wife that sits on the back seat and she's happy back there. And then you have the girl. And the girl is probably somewhat dominant, may look to her friends or spouse or family for some assistance. Then you've got the dominant that knows what she wants, just like us, knows what she wants. This is what I want. Are you going to sell me this? Kind of mentor. I'm the one with the wallet. I'm the money.
Yeah, I've bought all 3 of my bikes. No one's signing that check or that loan papers.
Right.
Yeah.
The second bike I bought, it was funny because when I bought it, the dealership owner said, "Have you ridden it?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, take it for a ride first." And I said, "Okay." It's smaller than the Road Glide, but okay, I'll take it for a ride. And so the salesman took it out for me, and I said, "Are you going with me?" And he said, "No, I was told you knew what you were doing." I said, "Okay, I'll see you in a while."
Yeah, and I appreciate women like you who know what they're doing. I mean, I'm not mechanically inclined. I'm in awe of women who can, wrench their own bike or change their oil. It would mess up my nails. I'm just not interested in that, and I admit it. But I do understand how the bike works, because I think that's important for women. I can point out the primary, I can point out this, and I can point out that. And I know it was an education for me when I bought the Road Glide Special because it's all hydraulic stuff. I don't have a clutch cable anymore. Just when I figured out what the clutch cable was, I don't have one now. I've got a hydraulic clutch. So I do think it's important that you connect with a service person who's going to educate you on it. And again, I'm plugging Crystal Harley-Davidson because their service is great. I start asking questions, and I know when I stop after riding for several hours or a few hundred miles, when you stop and turn the bike off, after about a minute you hear this clunk. Mm-hmm. And I'm going, what is that clunking? That can't be right. That can't be good. Clunking is not good. But when I pulled it in for a 10,000 mile service recently, he says, no, that's fine. That's it. And he explained to me what it was. I have since forgotten, but it's okay to clunk like that. So I think it's an education for all of us. And I think having these conversations with other women where it is safe to ask questions and admit, what is that clunking noise? I do not know what that clunking noise is. And you don't have somebody making fun because you don't know, or making you feel less than for asking the questions. We all need to ask the questions. Right. And I know you do a ladies' garage night, and I've participated in a couple here in Florida, and I find those very beneficial to some point. I still see a lot of men standing around, though, telling women what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true.
I don't know. Maybe we could change that dynamic. I don't know.
Well, our dealership had a riding academy graduate night for those that had graduated, and they invited them in for discounts and this and that, but the dealership was all theirs for a couple of hours. And I went to speak about the H.O.G chapter, the local H.O.G chapter and such. But as I was listening to each person introduce themselves and what they were riding and what they took away from the class, I was filing it right here. So when it came my turn, I actually spoke to each individual and gave them a little pep talk in a 1-sentence pep talk. One lady was scared that she was going to keep dropping her bike. And I told her, I said, you're going to drop it. It's going to happen. I said, eventually it won't happen anymore. And I said, it happens to the best of us. I said, don't be ashamed of that. Don't be ashamed to ask for help to pick it up.
Yeah, and that's not just gender related. Okay, everybody drops the bike.
Right. So then there was a couple, and she was a passenger and decided she wanted to ride her own. So her husband purchased her a 3-wheeler. Not sure if she got the free-wheeler or the tri-glide, but anyway. So now she's hesitant about going out by herself. And I said, honey, I said, go to the grocery store. I said, a gallon of milk will fit in my bag. I said, believe me, I know. I said, and been on the bike, and it'll slide right down in there. I said, I promise you. I said, then branch out, go see a friend, or just take a circle. Now, if you want to feel comfortable and it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy, I said, there's an app that you can download called Life 360. You and your husband can connect, and he can see where you're at while you're out riding alone. And then that way, if something happens and you break down, he'll know where to find you. I said, but don't be scared to go out by yourself. And then you can connect with other women and ride alone if you're okay. And I looked at him and I said, if you're okay with her doing this. And he said, oh yeah. He said, that's what she wants to do. And I said, then your support will help her branch out away, do it on her own.
Yeah.
And then of course there was a father and son duo, and I just looked at him and I said, you're going to have the best time. I said, because you're going to make lots of memories. I said, because my dad and I made lots of memories. And I said, you're going to do the same. I said, ride, and make memories.
That is so true.
So, it was interesting to hear what they took away from the class.
Right.
Interesting to see what they were riding. And it was not it was any brand. There was crotch rockets, there was other cruisers. It wasn't all Harley, and we didn't promote Harley. We promoted riding.
Yeah.
I said, this is what I'm here to talk about. We're on the emphasis of riding, and you choose the bike that is for the kind of riding that you want to do. If you're just going to ride around here, then you may not want a big bagger with all that storage area. I said, I have two. I bought a second one just for that because the bagger's just so big.
It is. And I was going to mention that, I hear it a lot. That's a lot of bike for a woman, Well, not really. Not really. I'm 5'6" and I weigh like 145, 50 pounds, give or take a few.
Like a good pair of shoes that it fits.
It fits. But I would like to have a smaller bike to just do short trips because, when I just want to ride around here, or it gets hard to handle. It gets heavy to handle, and especially when it's hot down here. It's hot down here right now, and yeah. So it does get heavy, but I can't go out and buy a second bike right now. My goal is to ride an adventure bike. I want to do an adventure bike trip. Yep. And I that's just the next thing I want to do.
You know what? I left that brand out. I was trying to think of all the bikes that I've owned, and I actually left two off. You
made notes. You made notes for this chat.
I did make notes because I wanted to make sure I hit everything. And then I had a BMW 1200.
Oh yeah.
That would be the touring style bike. Now, the reason I got rid of it was the same reason I got rid of the very first bike. I didn't like the way I sat on it.
Yeah.
Feet were directly underneath me, and and as long-legged as I am, it wasn't comfortable, not to me.
Well, that the new Pan America, the Harley-Davidson Pan America, I was intimidated by the whole size of the height of the thing sitting in your dealership. I didn't even get on it, but I don't know. That's just. And I've never ridden an adventure bike, so I just feel like as a rider, that's where my next adventure is. I want to do that. I'm going to stop our recording here in a minute, but I want you to stay on, okay? So we can chat a little bit more. But I do appreciate you doing this solo chat with me, and I think there's so much more that we need to talk about. Because again, it gives women the, I hope, courage to speak up and say, here's what I want, here's what I need. Please don't sell me anything differently. So thanks again. And I really appreciate it, Sandy.
You're welcome.